Welcome everybody out to podcast number 331. Are you failing to hold people accountable because you're afraid of being shorthanded? Stay with us.
This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
Welcome everybody. I hope you're doing well. I hope Friday is looking up for you and that you're excited for the weekend, getting some rest. I know for me, Katie and I, we start a Tony Robbins Business Mastery at 2:30 p.m. and it goes till like midnight or something like that. And then we have a couple of days of training. So really excited about that and excited about what it can do to scale information throughout the industry. So super excited. Anyway, just got back from Wisconsin. Hey, you know how everybody jokes around about Wisconsin and cheese? It turns out like that's a big deal. Like they have cheese hats and like homemade cheese and like, there's cheese everywhere. Anyway, I don't know if the rest of you knew that. I didn't know that, so I feel a little sheepish. But anyway, got back from Wisconsin, had a jamming time, worked with a really great leadership team on forming clarity in their organization, and it was just great. So headed into Tony Robbins, headed back from Wisconsin. Next week, headed out to a last planner training with my brother Felipe Engineer Manriquez. So I'm super excited about that. Then Florida, then boot camp, and then. So not too happy about all the travel, but definitely happy about getting out there and being with people. That's my dream. So I did a LinkedIn post today about showcasing your project. And here's my point with that. If you have a project where you're jamming with Lean, you're doing great things, we want to videotape that. We want to do a little show. We want to come schedule a time, even if it's a couple months from now where we don't have the availability right away, but we want to get it on the books to come showcase that project, videotape it, do a little show. Maybe it's 18 minutes, maybe it's 30 minutes, maybe it's 40 minutes, do some good post-production on that and share that on social media, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on anywhere we can go to scale what excellence looks like on projects. I'd say the best thing for people is to see what this looks like. And so if you're interested in that, please let me know. Reach out to me at 602-571-8987 or at jason.s@elevateconstructionist.com. So at Elevate, we do project recovery, training, boot camps, consulting. We have those jamming. We're doing a great job with that. The other thing is, if you need tact scheduling, please let us know. We do that. In fact, that is probably one of the single best things that we can do to start scaling excellence throughout the project is to stabilize our schedules first and foremost. Stabilize, then optimize. So what am I excited about in life? I'm excited about my trip to Europe. I told you about it. I'm flying to Germany the first week of September, to Munich, and then, what is the other city? I keep forgetting. But anyway, I'm flying to another city. Oh, wait a minute. Well, I don't know if I have the picture. I'll pull it up if I can find it. But then definitely off to maybe France, definitely off to Norway, close to Sweden. And I'm taking Reno with me. So before his mission, he'll be able to go on a 2-3 week trip to Europe. I've always loved going there. That's just as exciting as the prospect of going to Japan, in my opinion. They do some great things for manufacturing, and I just love the culture, and I just love, the Germans. I know it's probably not okay to say this, but those are my peeps. Like, I think like them. I genetically am like them. Those are my ancestors. There's just a lot of alignment there. So, it'd be just as exciting if you were born in Italy, or if you had Italian ancestors going back to Italy or Africa or Russia or whatever. It's the same thing. So I'm super jamming excited about that. So let's talk about fans and feedback. This is for the book Elevating Construction Superintendents. Oh, hey, by the way, I know I said I was finished writing it, but I actually finished adding in the TACT book process checklists, checklists for schedule health, and then checklists for the integrity of the tax plan in the last part of the book. The editor sent back section 3. There's only one more section to edit, and then we're jamming. The only bottleneck now is getting all the videos up on Lean Tact, but we've got 8 or 9 in queue, and Spencer and I are recording like mad people. So I'm really hoping that gets out sooner than later. I'd love some feedback. If you think that we should publish the QR codes and get the book out sooner, and then publish the QR codes as they come out, let me know. Or if you think we got to wait another week or two and just have all the videos included, let me know. Anyway, love your feedback. This is what they said about the Superbook. This is a gift to construction. There is so much valuable content in this book that it left me wanting to know more. I would love to see small spin-offs diving deeper into topics like logistics planning, last planner, etc. So here's some conflict for us. You are not dealing with people problems. Now, there's a concept that we need to talk about first and foremost, and that is that we do not blame people. We blame processes and we blame behaviors. Behaviors isn't typically something that you hear looped into the equation there, but I will say process and behaviors. Now, here's where I've got you on this if you disagree with me. What is a culture? It's the micro actions and the beliefs, the behaviors of a group. And so we don't blame people, we blame the culture or we blame the process. There's only two things as a part of an organization. I mean, there's other things, but by way of systems thinking, which I'm going to start researching here pretty soon. But there's behavior, meaning culture and process, culture and process. You can blame those two things, but you don't blame people, because people structurally, for the most part, are doing everything that they can to come in and do their best every day. In fact, there's a lot of talk about there not being enough workers out there, not enough good people, that millennials don't like to work, the Gen Z or X, I don't even know what generation we are, that they're lazy, they're different. Actually, that's not true. I was thinking about this, and we had a lively debate just the other day about it, is that when I do field engineer boot camps, there's just as hungry a people now as there were 15 years ago. I mean, that's just all there is to it. They want different things. So if you're in a company that's focused on loyalty, in office, the just base salary incentive packages without bonuses, not a fun environment. It might be that these people are hungry. They're just not hungry for you. And so there's a lot of talk about, workers and millennials and Gen X people, all these people coming out, not being good. They're lazy. We're blaming people again. That's not a lean process. We need to look at the culture and we need to look at the process here. So let me tell you a story before we go on. So Paul Akers started his 2-second lean journey. Half of the people left. You ask him, he was like, yeah, well, half of the people left. They didn't like the culture. They didn't want to improve. Okay. Other companies that I've seen, large, massive companies, they identify their core values and they start to head in a direction and they get firm with it. Droves of people leave. My projects on construction projects, we're going to be clean, safe, organized, perfect, beautiful. There's like 5-10% of the workforce that just don't want to be there, and maybe one trade partner that doesn't want to be there. They don't want to elevate to those standards. Difficult situations. Difficult situations come about when we're very strict about where we're going with our culture, with our process, and where we're going to go, right? Difficult decisions come about, but we have to make those difficult decisions. Meaning, we have to get the right people on the bus and the wrong people off. We have to get the right people on the bus and the wrong people off. Because when we're scaling lean and improvement and excellence, there's going to be, maybe when you start out, half and half that are on board, half that aren't. That's everywhere. Again, Paul Akers, half of the people left or had to be fired or had to be changed out. Large companies, same thing. My construction projects, same thing happens. Everywhere we go, this happens. And we're inviting the people that can't work there anymore to go somewhere where they fit in. But they don't fit in with me with excellence. We blame the process. We blame the behavior. We don't blame the people, but we let them work somewhere else if they're not a cultural fit. And so what I'm saying today, my message today, is that you are being held hostage by people. Ooh, let's get into this. This is probably one of the most important podcasts that I'll do all year. you are being held hostage by the people that are not bought in. I think it is such a fallacy to run lean on manpower or staff or team members or PMs or supers. It's such a mistake. The companies where they have one or two or three and they're always hiring and developing and training, if somebody ends up not being a cultural fit, they invite them to work somewhere else and they put the bench people who are doing work anyway and adding money or adding value and earning money. They put those folks in those spots, right? It is so short-sighted to not have enough people. The other thing is with training. If we're not quadrupling or sextupling the amount of training that we're doing, then the people who are not trained are holding you hostage. And you cannot get the people that are fits in and the people that are not fits out. So you have to keep recruiting, you have to keep hiring, and you have to keep training, and you have to keep expanding your capacity. You should expand your capacity before you actually expand your workload. And so that right there, that advice, I could have charged you 10 grand for that right there. That advice, if you start doing that, will change more for what you are doing than almost anything else. Now you're like, well, who's going to pay for that? Dude, you pay for like hundreds of thousands of dollars of waste every day. Let's get creative. This is the other concept. We don't have enough workers. We don't have enough management people. We don't have enough staff. We don't have enough of this. We don't have enough of that. Okay, well, we need more people to manage waste. We don't need more people if we're getting lean. I'm kind of excited for the industry right now because like Japan after World War II, they were in economies of scarcity. And we have been in economies of scale and economies of plenty. And now that we're entering an economy of scarcity, only the lean companies are going to survive. This is a perfect, beautiful opportunity moment for us. So my point is, holding people accountable will not leave you shorthanded unless you're not hiring, unless you're not recruiting, unless you're not training. But if you're recruiting, hiring, and training, your holding people accountable will not leave you shorthanded. And if you're going to go through your lean journey, don't think it's all butterflies and kittens. That's not how life works. It's a whole lot of, hey, who's on the bus and who's not on the bus. So Jim Collins, in his books, Good to Great, Great by Choice, Built to Last, Beyond Entrepreneurship 2.0, which is like my field handbook for organizational health, along with Patrick Lencioni, he talks about the number one metric. Now, I'm not plagiarizing. This is a direct quote from Beyond Entrepreneurship 2.0, Turning Your Business into an Enduring Great Company, Jim Collins and Bill Lazier. And this is on page number 16 of the book. Track the number one metric. When you have your weekly or monthly or quarterly management team meetings, what is the number one first priority metric you look at? Is it sales or profitability or cash flow or something about products or service levels? Or some other metric? Whatever your answer, there's one metric that towers above all others. One metric to track with obsession. One metric upon which the greatness of the entire enterprise hinges. And yet, ironically, for most companies, it's rarely the metric first discussed, if it's discussed at all. However, to build a truly great and lasting company, it must rise to the top. And what's that metric? The percentage of key seats on the bus filled with the right people for those seats. Stop and think. What percentage of your key seats do you have filled with the right people? If your answer is less than 90%, you've just identified your number one priority. To build a truly great company, you'll need to strive for having 90% of your key seats filled with the right people. Why not 100% of your key seats filled with the right people? At any given moment, there's a very high likelihood that at least some key seats will be temporarily unfilled. It could also be that you've only recently moved someone into a key seat, and you don't yet know how well that person will perform in that seat. And in some cases, the demands of a key seat have grown faster than the capabilities of the person in that seat. What makes for a key seat? Any seat meeting any one of the following three conditions qualifies as key. The person in that seat has the power to make significant people decisions. Number two, failure in that seat could expose the entire enterprise to significant risk or potential catastrophe. Number three, success in the seat would have a significantly outsized impact on company success. The question of whom to put in the seats become crucial when you cannot get people off your bus. This might be because of family dynamics, quasi-tenured employees, internal politics, or even simple loyalty to some of the people who contributed early on to the company's success. But whatever the constraints, and whatever the reasons, you still have the task to get your key seats filled with the right people. So you need to know when to shift from develop to replace. And so there's and Adam Hoots, we're going to do a podcast hopefully one of these days on that spectrum. There's like 7 or 8, I think, in his chart, 7 or 8 levels of development, but eventually you have to get to the point where you replace. Now, how do you know when you've crossed the demarcation line, when it's time to make the shift from develop to replace for a key seat? This is on page 18 and 19. Number 1, are you beginning to lose other people by keeping this person in the seat? Number 2, do you have a values problem, a will problem, or a skills problem? Number 3, what's the person's relationship to the window and the mirror? Meaning, do they look out and see other people as the fault or themselves? Does the person see work as a job or a responsibility? Has your confidence in the person gone up or down in the past year? Do you have a bus problem or a seat problem? Meaning, sometimes you might have the right person on the bus, but it's the wrong seat. How would you feel if the person quit today? These are amazing questions in Beyond Entrepreneurship 2.0. I gave you the reference. I give all credit to Jim Collins and Bill Desir. That is where my mind is today. So, holding people accountable will not leave you shorthanded as long as you are recruiting, hiring, and training. If you're not, you might be in trouble. But you could also reduce the annual volume of your business and actually do things right the first time. So here are the principles. And let me just say one other thing. Again, so do you have the right seats with your foreman? Do you have the right people in the right seats with your superintendents? Do you have the people in the right seats with your project team? Do you have the people in the right seats with your designers? This goes everywhere, everywhere. I'll give you a story. Well, actually, let me just go ahead and tell you about that now. So I remember there was a company that terminated a project executive on a mega project because he was being cancerous and not leading the team. Everyone was afraid that they wouldn't get work. Everyone was afraid that, hey, what would happen to the owner? What would happen to the job? They made the decision. It was perfect. There was a little bit of fill-in that another person had to do, but it was great. They finished the project great. It all worked out for the best. The foreman. There was a foreman that was removed on a project at my suggestion because he was cancerous. He wouldn't fit in. And up until that point, he was totally cancerous. So that foreman and actually a superintendent on the project, we removed them and filtered people around to the right seats. That project started a jam, finished on time. And I will tell you, the most common problem that we have are foremen, and not the foremen themselves, but the foremen being in the wrong seats on the bus, on the project site, and the project team not doing anything about it. If you have a cancerous, non-performing foreman, that is one of the most destructive things you can have on the project site. Another example, which I told you before, the PM and the project executive on a $250 million plus project, they weren't leading the project, no conflict. They weren't rallying the team. They weren't performing. We moved them off the project. We got a new PX in there and we got a new project manager in there, and the team started jamming. They started hitting their dates and the whole project turned around. There are people in the wrong seat problems, meaning behavioral problems, meaning process and behavioral problems. We don't blame the people for those things, right? We invite those people to go work somewhere else because their behaviors and actions, their behaviors and the way they fit into the process might not fit into the overall culture of the project. This fits totally in with lean concepts. Okay, so here's the principle. You have to work with your most bought-in players. Don't spend too much time with your not bought-in players. Make sure you're recruiting, hiring, and training your best people. Blame the process and the behavior, not the people. And sometimes you have to make sure that you get the people in the right seats. And you may lose from 10% to 50% of your people that are not bought in, that just don't want to improve in your process of taking your lean journey. My question is, are you willing to take that risk? Because I have never seen, not once, Never, ever seen one time a company hold their people accountable, make people decisions, make seat decisions, make key seat decisions, hold zero tolerance, hold crew composition excellent standards, enforce cleanliness, enforce safety, enforce organization, enforce deliveries, and enforce the minimum requirements of what it takes to be a leader on the project, in the company, on the leadership team, or wherever they are, and have that group of people be shorthanded. Especially if you're paying attention, because there will be inspiration and providence to lead the right people to you once you decide on your culture. If you let people treat you any kind of way, like Eric Thomas says, that will create a culture, and you will be shorthanded because your company will suffer from a lack of communication, a low morale, and dissension. And so I'm telling you, and I have insurance for this, you can't sue me for this, to my knowledge. I'm telling you, my best advice is if you are hiring, if you are recruiting, hiring, and training at an accelerated rate, and if you are being really clear about your culture, and if you are not tolerating bad behavior, and if you are holding people accountable, I have never seen people be shorthanded. Now, could they be shorthanded for like an irresponsible amount of desired work? Sure. But to get by, maintain cash flow, take care of current customers, I've never seen it happen. And so holding people accountable will not leave you shorthanded. Follow the principles. Decide 100% what is your culture? What are the processes that you'll follow? What are the behaviors that you'll follow? Don't blame the people, blame the culture, fix the culture. And the way you fix the culture, and I'm going to close out with this, is by getting the right people in the right seats, or right people on the bus in the right seats, and the wrong people, help develop them and see if they fit in different seats. But when they don't, get them off the bus. This is a true principle. On we go.
Please join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word by rating, subscribing, and leaving a review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time on the Elevate Construction Podcast.